Hello everyone, today I will guide you through the 6 essential steps to implement Critical Chain Project Management or CCPM in your project environment. The first phase is to choose the team by gathering motivated and skilled people. The team must have all the talent, experience and technical knowledge needed to complete the project. Once the team is formed, we move on to phase 2, training. Training all stakeholders in Critical Chain ensures that everyone understands the method before using it. This training guarantees that everyone uses the same vocabulary, can grasp the key concepts and imagine how they can apply them to their working environment afterwards. This does not take long. A one-day course is sufficient. May I just emphasize that I think that the fact that Marris Consulting takes particular care to do this training in depth and do it well is one of the reasons why we have such great success factors in our implementations. The third phase is to choose the pilot. The pilot should be an important project in the portfolio, ideally the most important. If possible, the pilot project should be a project that is just about to start, but in practice, companies often choose a project that is already underway and late and very important. To begin with, the pilot project must be planned or replanned the critical chain way. The aim is to achieve an ambitious yet realistic schedule while taking into account the constraints. The majority of companies decide to go through a pilot phase, but some decide to move their entire portfolio directly into critical chain, the Big Bang approach. For more details on this third phase, you can watch the video in which I explain successive steps to build a critical chain compliant project schedule. Once the schedule is created and established, it's time to move on to phase 4, which is the execution and improvement of that project environment. This phase involves implementing tasks according to the established schedule while closely monitoring project progress through the iconic fever chart. It is important to analyze the causes of drift and identify opportunities to improve the project environment. Working on a pilot project enables you to obtain results fairly quickly. It allows you to quantify the differences between other projects that are not managed the critical chain way, while limiting the team's apprehension towards this new work methodology. After the pilot project phase, we move naturally to phase 5, which is the deployment throughout the entire portfolio. This involves implementing the critical chain method to all the projects in the company's project portfolio. This standardizes practices and ensures consistency in the management of all projects. Be careful to maintain a low level of work in progress, not too many simultaneous projects. To reduce the level of work in progress, you can either freeze some of the projects or apply the 2-for-1 rule. You only start a new project when you've finished 2 projects. Finally, the last phase involves identifying the bottleneck within the portfolio and better managing it. It's necessary to find and identify where the potential constraint is within your project portfolio. Remember that in the critical chain approach there are 2 types or 2 dimensions of constraints. The constraint of each project is its critical chain sequence, but in a portfolio environment there is a resource somewhere in the organization that is the capacity constraint of the whole system. This bottleneck can be a department or some equipment like testing equipment or just 2 or 3 key people. Once identified, measures are taken to ensure that the bottleneck resource produces more. A classic solution here is to reduce the bad multitasking of these resources. Of course, if you have already successfully identified your bottleneck earlier on in the process, you should anticipate improvement actions on your portfolio constraint in steps 3 and 4 so as to obtain better results sooner. I hope you found this description useful. I encourage you now to go ahead and get started.